Welcome to Stock Law Now. I'm your host, Scott Colasanti. The past year has been nearly unbearable, as the stock market has either been democratized or hopelessly perverted. Meanwhile, the regulators have responded either with silent alarm or resounding indifference. And so, coming to you from the cool side of the pillow, it's Yes or No, the year's regulatory awards, the season-ending podcast from Stock Law Now. As always, Trusty Cherry is here to keep the madcap antics in line. And here we go.
It was the heat of the moment.
Dateline, June 2021. Fall football in empty stadiums and spring training tie scores are over, leaving us with 18-hour days to look back on the amazing year. The market either changed for the good or for the worst. As a reminder, since last summer, we saw a charging bull market for no good reason. A social media crowd that defeated short sellers, a new type of public offering, and tweets that make the lyrics of Prince look banal. No one could have predicted that home confinement and stimulus checks would lead to the overwhelming popularity of stock trading, or its regulators, or the Netflix documentaries on all the shysters. It's as cardio-intensive as a Jonas Brothers concert. It's as though everyone who got into the Ivy League schools had an independent college counselor. Or as though Scrooge McDuck got his own lavish Broadway musical. Or the National Hockey League decided to impose only minor penalties. Or the e-insurance robocaller got all our cell phone numbers at once. Okay, you get the picture. Overall, government money, consumer spending sprees, automated stock sales, and quick stock offerings all took on new forms and countless new customers. Everything old was new again, except when it wasn't. It's been a big yes or no to the past way of doing things. And as the game got bigger and the money recklessly splashed around, no one could teach the new dogs old tricks. The only thing certain is that as volatile and unpredictable as the stock market got, it paled in comparison to the crazed market for cryptocurrency.
Well, I feel so broke up.
Truly, in the words of the Beach Boys, I want to go home. To try to encapsulate the capitalist tsunami of the past year, here is a tasty riff from the 80s. Okay, that's enough tsunami. Bringing this year's academic study to conclusion, let's revisit and update the topics selected by this podcast. In August, the inaugural broadcast of Stock Law Now examined the tweets of Elon Musk for their compliance with the securities laws. That episode concluded that, for the moment, SEC regulation was right where it needed to be. Specifically, the SEC had required Musk to step down as Tesla chairman and to obtain legal approval for all tweets touching upon Tesla's finances. But Elon did it again. Musk's tweets continued to expand, and it's doubtful they're being reviewed by anyone. His Twitter account has grown to nearly 54 million followers. He is now openly commenting on investments, consumer safety, payment systems, production, and other affairs at Tesla, SpaceX, and other companies. Further, he is alternatively supporting and discouraging Bitcoin and a new digital coin sadly named after a cartoon dog. While the SEC and others watch the uncensored barrage of commentary move markets, the messianic messages proliferate and incur the wrath of investors watching markets for clues. Rather than getting banned anywhere, Musk actually hosted Saturday Night Live, lending truth to the old adage, if you can't beat 'em, give 'em a late-night time slot. Next, in September, Stock Law Now recapped the Fire Festival fraud. The episode highlighted that while investors were awarded monies and the government obtained fines, actual ticket purchases were not reimbursed. Well, since then, we have seen the creditors' court flex its muscles. God bless the bankruptcy code, which enabled the trustee to deliver $7,200 to each Fire Festival attendee, a recovery that stands out as diligent given that no regulators saw fit to reimburse people who paid money to someone spending 6 years in a federal prison for fraud. Subsequently, in November, Stock Law Now detailed the saga of the Madoff Ponzi scheme and the many varied attempted recoveries of monies by Madoff victims. Madoff again took aim at the accounting that divided Madoff's investors into net winners and net losers, with the winners both being compelled to return monies and to pay taxes on the hypothetical profits. That division and those efforts continue, with approximately $4 billion still left on the table. In fact, just this month, the Supreme Court denied the move by the bankruptcy trustee to get at monies paid to Madoff victims in quote-unquote good faith. This last decision retips the seesaw and once again expands the case law and vocabulary. Further, in December, Stock Law Now capped off 2020 by pointing out that Robinhood and the New Age trading apps are engaging in depression-era use of margin lending. About a month later, the broker-dealer was forced to borrow money to meet its own margin calls. Within days of settling an SEC action for $65 million, Robinhood was facing class action lawsuits and a Massachusetts state action for gamifying stock investing. But hey, what's $600 million in account receivables when the world's coolest trading platform rains digital confetti on first-time investors? In January 2021, Stock Law Now started the new year by focusing its less-than-weighty guns on cryptocurrency. Since then, Coinbase, one of 3 American crypto exchanges, published its IPO filing, even as experts disagreed as to whether its underlying trading platform itself needs to register with the SEC. Further, one SEC commissioner on her own floated a rule proposal to exempt digital coins from coverage by the securities laws. And yes, sirree, the inevitable has happened. Just last week, the country of El Salvador announced that Bitcoin, along with the US dollar, is now legal tender there. How cool is that? Elon Musk can now manipulate an entire nation. And in April, Stock Law Now examined what promised to be the first of many congressional hearings on the free money in the stock market. Reddit and Robin and Bears took aim at what Congress could have asked its summoned witnesses in the strangest market swings since, the finale of the Eddie Murphy movie on commodities. More to come on those wide-ranging political confrontations. All of these podcastic efforts have proven to be, if not conclusive, I'm going to go with oddly specific, persistently, incrementally relevant, dynamic and fluid. Whatever, yes or no, these topics are still in the press, except when stranger, larger, related forms of these topics are in the press. And thus, as the school year ends, Stock Law Now awards the Nowsies, accorded to those parties best exemplifying the spirit of here today, buried in a Yahoo historical chart tomorrow. As we prepare to award the first 10 Nowsies, here are some sentimental sounds to soothe the pains of 2020. Enough soothing. The first Nowsie is the Bring Back Pluto Award for Best Image Recovery, and it goes to the Milken brothers. Just ask your parents. In 1990, Michael Milken pleaded guilty to, among other things, securities fraud, and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He paid the then largest fine ever of $600 million. He was prosecuted by a voracious U.S. attorney named Rudy Giuliani. Then, in 2020, Michael Milken was pardoned by President Trump, based upon the efforts of, among others, a voracious Republican attorney named Rudy Giuliani. Whether Michael Milken is bad for markets or not, yes or no, is thus a moot point. His conviction is gone. But even more impressive is the rebound of his brother Lowell Milken. Brother Lowell was banned for life from the securities industry by the SEC in 1991. He has since become a symbol for good guys. Is Lowell good for business? Yes or no? His name now adorns the Institute for Business Ethics at a major law school. Hang in there, Pluto. We'll get you back on diner mats any day now. The second Nowsie Award is Snitches Get Riches, and it goes to the SEC's whistleblower program, which, as of June 3rd, 2021, had awarded over $900 million to 166 individuals. That's $5.4 million for each whistleblower. God, I wish I knew some crooks. Jerry, let's get back to working on that app, Insider Traders Near Me. Next, the I Don't Care Who Wins, Godzilla or King Kong Award goes to the Department of Justice, which in March charged cybersecurity pioneer John McAfee with violating either the securities laws or the commodities laws. Hey, one monster squashing a model city is just as good as any other, I always say, and fraud is fraud. You say tomato, I say commodity. Yes or no? It's good to see someone with a badge has got our backs. Next, the Chicago School of Economics Award goes to the unnamed experts who valued the startup company WeWork at $47 billion, and then only 6 months later valued it at $8 billion. Who knew a company's filing for an IPO could fix so many free market calculators? Next, the Bud Fox Everybody's Doing It Award goes to the federal court that dismissed all claims against Fyre Festival co-sponsor Ja Rule. In dismissing the rapper from a class action lawsuit, the court said that advertising has to be believable, finding that, I quote, promissory statements regarding future conduct are non-actionable unless they are made without intent to perform, end quote. Thus implying that the rapper intended all along for attendees to receive, and I quote again, yoga, massages, henna tattooing, sound healing, chill-out sessions, and a festive Bahamian Junkanoo parade, end quote. As a reminder, festival attendees got no music, no massages, a FEMA surplus tent, and a cheese sandwich. The moral is clear. When it comes to fraud, the bigger the lie, the more likely its maker believed it. Who knew?
I'm a sucker for you.
Next, the Life is Too Short to Sit in the Mezzanine Award for Most Brazen Fraud goes to the San Diego Ponzi schemer who took in nearly $400 million from friends and others to support, quote, a luxury lifestyle that included homes, cars, jewelry, and box seats for San Diego Padres and San Diego Chargers games. In late March, the Ponzi schemer was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Trial experts are still questioning why the defense didn't present psychiatric testimony, particularly because the money was spent on San Diego Padres and San Diego Chargers games. And, oh, here's my favorite. The award for the leading question least likely to appear on Law & Order goes to Congressional Chairwoman Maxine Waters, who, on February 18th, asked the Robinhood CEO the following yes or no question.
Could you just answer yes or no? This liquidity problem had real consequences for your customers, but I wonder if they were all that surprised. Between December 2019 and December 2020, Robinhood customers experienced monetary losses due to system outages. Customer accounts were reportedly compromised. The firm repeatedly failed to testify its best execution obligations, and it misled its customers regarding its revenue sources. It seems retail investors often get a bad deal at Robinhood. Mr. Taniv, also, while you testified today that, quote, Robinhood's customers benefit greatly from payment for order flow, quote unquote, in December 2020, the SEC charged Robinhood for not disclosing that it was getting paid to send customer trades to Citadel Securities and other market makers. and for not seeking the best terms for its customers' orders. Robinhood provided such inferior trade prices, it cost your customers over $34 million. Is your testimony after Robinhood paid? Is it your testimony after Robinhood paid the SEC $65 million to settle those charges that this conflict of interest is in your customers' best interest? Yes or no?
Chairwoman Waters, first let me say regulatory compliance is at the center of everything that we do. We've made mistakes in the past. I'm not claiming that I'm perfect.
Answer yes or no to that question.
Was that question just too darn long? Yes or no? The Congresswoman made her point. Concurrently, the Prince Valiant Fan Club / Best Haircut for a Chastised Market Player Award is a tie between the Robinhood CEO and his fellow congressional inquiry Roaring Kitty. Both celebs were rumored to be in production of a line of hair care products for maverick entrepreneurs opposing traditional hair parting. Yes or no, send your curling irons to Menlo Park, California. Separately, Nowsie number 9, the Titanic Needed More Lifeboats Award for most obvious findings goes to the industry study that actually concluded that the pandemic affected investors, stating, and I quote, older age, more depressive symptoms, more medical conditions, lower education, lower income, and fewer social contacts are also associated with poorer decision-making, end quote. No word on whether or not the actual loss of consciousness during conversation with your stockbroker can be tied to unsuccessful options trading. And finally, number 10, the award for Regulator of the Year, without hesitation, goes to Massachusetts Secretary of State William Galvin, whose February 2021 complaint noted that Robinhood, while executing over 21,000 trades in a year for 3 first-time investors, ran an advertised memorial stating, "I didn't know anything about investing before using Robinhood. As soon as I set up my account, I had a free stock. So I immediately was an investor. From there, I was learning stuff as I went along." Too early to tell whether it's illegal to encourage active trading as a means of learning, active trading. But yes or no, Massachusetts, you did a great job simply highlighting the facts. And as students of IPOs learn, facts are what disclosure is all about. That Massachusetts complaint should be made part of the Robinhood prospectus in 2021.
Money for nothing, chicks for free.
So that's it. A year showcasing thousands of points in market swings, banned traders becoming philanthropists, cryptocurrency taking hold, fraud cleanup continuing, and the least understood entities going public. Are stock slices legal? Can investors tweet whatever they wish? Is the current bull market simply too much to bear? Yes or no? Either way, it's time for vacation. For Stock Law Now, this has been Scott Colasanti and his trusty dog Cherry saying we're out of here. As a reminder for non-millennials, as we wind down this difficult, harrowing period of social isolation, talking to your stuffed animals is all right. However, if they talk back, you may have a career in teaching. School's out, everybody! Thank you for the over 1,600 viewings of something called an MP4 of this podcast. And thank you, Fire Festival, Bernie Madoff, Congress, Bitcoin, Robinhood, and of course, Elon. You make this all look easy. Tell the teacher we're surfing USA. Cowabunga! Yes, that's still a thing, Jerry. I think it's cool. And I hold the treats.
Stock Law Now is prepared, delivered, and copyrighted by Professor Scott Colasanti of Hofstra Law School. All views expressed herein are personal, so please, no wagering. For links to documents referenced herein, visit Castography at www.stocklawnow.com.